Okay, Vlog World. So Megan's dad brought Nathan an iPad, and we ordered the case and stuff. We weren't going to let him touch it until we got the case. And this one came with a tempered glass. And I have the biggest regret. Like, you might be like, oh, yeah, you got the TRX. Like, that's kind of your main vlog thing. But the biggest regret I have so far for something I missed is, especially if you, like, when we worked at Cell Plus and they came out with those tempered glass screen protectors, like, getting one of them on, like, because, I mean, even a speck of dust, it lifts up a spot and there's a circle, and then you gotta, like, try to take the little thing that you're supposed to get the dust out with and, like, wad it up in there and then hope it gets the lint. And, I mean, and then on top of that, you gotta get it squared up nice. There's so many factors. But yeah, you gotta get the button lined up and, and then, I mean, like, this one doesn't have a camera hole, or for a hole where the camera is, like most of them do, which is weird. But when you get it, like, lined up with that hole and make sure one of the corners is lined up, so you just let go, and then it just, like, it sticks itself, and it, like, you've got, like, the air, and it, like, just, like, slowly moves across it like a ripple. And I'm like, as that thing was going, I'm like, I forgot how insanely satisfying this is. And I'm, like, sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, if I was recording this, like, I mean, it's, like, visual ASMR. Like, honestly, like, I could probably, I mean, obviously, like, I'd be doing something else because I'm a productive person. But I feel like I could, like, have a video, of, like, let's say there's, like, 1,000 people that got an iPad or, like, a Surface, or, like, I mean, I have a glass screen protector on my Switch. But, you know, or Samsung tablets, you know, the better brands. But, yeah, I could, like, watch an hour of, like, you know, like, while I was playing a game and it was something I don't have to pay super close attention to. And just, like, sit there and, like, every time I had, like, a little bit of downtime, glance down and watch that, like, just bleed across the screen as it, like, perfectly lays on, no lint under it. And, one little tiny piece of lint up in this corner, and the, like, lift it up and use the sticky pad thing worked perfect to get it out. But, and then it kind of, like, I had to, like, lift up to about here to get it, and it did it again there, but it was just, like, not catching that initial one. Like, I mean, heck, I'd almost rather miss the first launch control in the truck, because, I mean, like, this is a once per tablet thing. And, I mean, you know, yeah. I'm on my way to the farmer's market, and I just realized I haven't done a cold start on this in a while for the channel. It's been, it's beautiful. Yeah, we've been doing so much, like, with, like, doing things with it that we haven't just, like, appreciated its sound just sitting there. So here's an interesting thing that shows a big difference between me and Megan. Like, by the time we were leaving my parents last night, I think the temperature was probably back down into, like, the low 70s. Felt fairly cool, but after it'd been in the 80s, like low 70s, still feels pretty warm. But that's what I have my side of the temperature control on. That's what Megan had hers on. Like, yeah, like, you can tell that there's still a lot of Californian lingering in that girl. Like, it's like, oh, it's 70. Like, I'm like, oh god, that's still pretty dang warm, especially after how the whole day's been so hot. Let's try to bring her down. She's like, well, no, let's keep it about exactly the same as it is outside, even though there's still, like, residual heat in our bodies from it being 90 today. Another complaint, I mean, very trivial, very stupid, but because of the wireless charging pad, like, a lot of the times my phone stays in my pocket when I'm driving, but because of the wireless charging pad, I throw it in there, you know, because you never know when your phone's gonna get a little bit low. But yes, it means I have forgotten my phone almost every time I've gotten out of that truck. And I usually don't forget my phone because, like, it's, like, I use it for work. So it's like any weekday if I go anywhere, I have it. And then on the weekend, like right now, for all I know, my parents might call me in 10 minutes to see what's going on. Like, but yeah, I forget my phone at an alarming rate now. Okay, I don't know if you can see it back there, but somebody is selling alpaca blankets. It's like, this is the hottest it's been all summer, like, over the last few days. And it's like alpaca blankets. I gotta get better at keeping my arm extended when I'm recording in selfie mode. What a dope. It's like, oh yeah, look at me. Want to see my teeth? But yeah, that's kind of insane. Also, I don't know if it got caught on the last little bit of that video. Like the guy sure that said commit tax fraud. Like, you know, taxes are theft, but still wouldn't put it on a shirt. Probably makes you a target. Yeah. But yeah, that alpaca blanket thing's insane because I don't think I'd seen them here yet. And it's like, okay, it's like all week it's been in the 80s. It's supposed to be in the 80s all week next week. I think there's one day where it's only 80. So it's, I mean, you know, if it's off by a little, it could be just high 70s. But yeah, stupid flaps they put down before they do the chip seal. I have had one go over the edge of my flip-flop and get this out of my foot repeatedly. Almost tripped me a couple of times. And then because chip seal is such a messy thing that stays messy for weeks, like these loose pieces you see everywhere, I've had like 4 of them stick to the bottom of my flip-flop already. And it's like, oh boy, to extend the life of the road for, you know, it's like every time they chip seal, they add like a year to the life of the road. It's like, you know, I mean, I guess it is cheaper than repaving, but at the same time, like, do higher quality paving in the first place. Make it thicker. Just, yeah, see, that fucker just got my toe too. Damn things. Okay, this is another kind of funny thing is my dad came over with their Colorado and parked next to this, and it was funny because, like, I never really thought about it, but then he, because, you know, that's a mid-sized truck. I think technically what it's considered. I don't really know, because I think that technically is considered like a mid-size class, but I mean, like, I'm not totally sure, because, like, well, I mean, didn't it technically replace the S10, and there was never really anything smaller than the S10? I mean, the Love, but I mean, like, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I don't think the Love has been made since maybe 80. Like, I mean, I'm thinking more like 70s, but maybe I'm off. But yeah, like, we were talking about that last night. He's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. It makes that thing look like just itty bitty. But yeah, another thought on that chip seal thing. Like, if they're sticking to the bottom of my flip-flops, imagine, like, how much, like, with that small of a surface area, imagine how much they're still sticking to tires and stuff and getting flung up into your vehicle. Like, chip sealing is just obnoxious. And I mean, I get, like, if they, because the final step, obviously, is sweeping up access rock. And it's like, if you did a really good job with that, it might not be so bad, but it's like, no matter what you do, there's parts that aren't stuck good enough, so then, like, some of the sticky stuff is exposed, then you run it over, then it pulls it up, then there's one more loose rock. And it's like, it's not so bad in town, but they do it on the highway, and it's like, you basically have to be prepared. It's like, if you're gonna go down a highway where the speed limit's higher, where chip sealing's been done, to be replacing your windshield, or at least getting a chip filled. So, what's the date today? 23rd, right? 4th?
I don't know. 24th.
Okay. But yeah, so it's the 24th. We picked up the truck on the 30th of June, so, and I don't think that's posted yet, but obviously we'll post before this. At one point when I went to get Megan gas, like I showed a little video of that, and I didn't move the seat because it's literally like, you go out into a street, go like 30 feet, and turn into a parking lot. And I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with where the seat's set for Megan over that. And then I backed it like up out of the way to mow, because where we parked the car, like, it gets a load of grass on it if I mow without moving the car. So, and I also didn't adjust the seat then. So this is the first time I've been in it with the seat adjusted, and there's multiple things, because it's needed a bath since like May, and then the weather was crappy, like, well, I mean, even after we got the truck. And I like, if there's like bad rain in the forecast the day of washing, or like the next day, I lose enthusiasm a little bit. And then a couple of times it actively rained when we went to wash it. So I was like, yeah, we need to finally give it a bath. But yeah, leaving the alley at our house, it goes uphill. The truck, like, I can see up out of the alley before I even go up the hill. This, it's like, until I'm up on top of that hill and like up onto the flat part, I cannot see. Then I, like, this headrest, like, it has to like tip forward more. The ones in the truck must be more vertical. This also, it's kind of funny because, like, I was like, sometimes this thing feels like it shifts a little funny. Now that I've driven something brand new for a little while, yeah, it definitely does. Transmission's probably about to break because the replacement one we got after arguing with D's, is just about out of warranty. So yeah, something bad will probably happen here soon. But yeah, it's definitely different. No supercharger sounds kind of weird. No sound period, because this thing sounds really good if you stomp it, but it also like doesn't really make any sound until you stomp it. All right, so mentioned the car. Like, I mean, it sounds good. It's a completely different kind of sound, but, and especially like you've obviously seen the car, like it's a 4-door like family car thing. It's got a lot more chutzpah. And like once we figure out if that, because we mentioned that in other videos that I got, what was it, a 6.3 0 to 60 out of it?
Yeah.
We'll test that app against the one built in on the TRX at some point to see if it's accurate. So if it's accurate, this thing's actually a lot. I knew it was fairly peppy for what it is, but yeah, that was a lot more than I expected.
So it's been kind of raining, and it's supposed. Well, I don't know if it's supposed to, but it at least looks.
Stop at 3.
Okay, Matt says it's supposed to stop at 3, but it looks like it's gonna keep raining. And we're washing the car.
Well, you realize if it stays stationary, it'll just be water droplets. The same difference as after you rinse it.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it hasn't been.
Stop, let the family move.
We've been meaning to wash it since May, so it kind of needs it. So
I was gonna say
yeah.
since like May.